Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty fundamental uh, about how influence really works.
Yeah, it's about knowledge versus something else.
Exactly. We're going beyond, the usual resume stuff, the credentials, and diving into this idea of being an expert versus being a witness.
It's a fascinating distinction, isn't it? Because it really touches on where true impact comes from.
Right. We often think authority means, well, degrees, data, loads of study.
Mm-hmm.
But what if the real credibility isn't what you know in your head, but what you've actually lived through?
That's the core question, yeah. And that's our mission for this deep dive.
We're looking at this framework. It comes from a theological source, actually, a sermon digging into Acts 1.8.
Right, the you shall be witnesses part.
Yes. And the argument is that, well, real change, the kind that shifts things, isn't built on human expertise. It's built on personal experience, divine experience, the source calls it.
Exactly. Let's maybe define those terms quickly. An expert, they speak from facts, theories, data, stuff they've learned.
Their authority is based on accumulation, credentials.
Right. But a witness speaks from their story, what they've seen, heard, felt personally.
So no CV needed, just a narrative.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They stand on their experience, not just their qualifications.
And the text we're exploring suggests this is the actual path to influence, not becoming a top scholar, but becoming a compelling storyteller of your own experience.
Okay, so this kind of tears down that high barrier, doesn't it? Expertise usually feels exclusive. PhDs, publications.
Yeah, it shuts a lot of people out.
Yeah.
But this framework, drawing from the source, it emphasizes that the original people called to, spread the message. They weren't the elite.
Not the scholars or theologians.
No. Fishermen, tax collectors,
Hmm.
just ordinary folks,
Yeah.
everyday people.
That says a lot. It means, credentials aren't the main thing for having deep influence.
Precisely.
But hang on, doesn't that risk credibility? Today, people want evidence, right? Facts. If someone just says, well, I experienced this, how does that stack up against hard data? Ugh, that's where the power dynamic shifts. It's fascinating because the implication is a witness doesn't need encyclopedic knowledge of the whole subject.
Okay.
They just need to tell what they know, what they experienced. There's that line quoted, that which we have seen and heard declare we unto you.
Simple.
Direct. Very. It moves away from abstract debate toward something tangible, demonstrated change.
So in a meeting, instead of just charts and models.
Which is expertise.
Right. I could say, look, this strategy, it saved my last project. Here's how. That's being a witness.
Exactly that. You can argue doctrine, debate theories endlessly. But it's really hard to deny someone's personal lived experience.
Yeah, you can't really argue with this changed my life or this pulled me out of a really dark place.
Or even, I watched this approach turn a profit when nothing else worked. That testimony, it's solid. It becomes its own evidence. They might not know all the whys and wherefores, but they know what happened.
Right. They know that they know.
That's the feeling.
So the story, the witness narrative, it's just more relatable, more contagious maybe than a lecture from an expert.
I think that's a big part of it, yeah.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. The source argues that this transformation from regular person to, world-changing witness,
Yeah,
it needs fuel.
right. It's not just human effort.
No. The text promises you shall receive power. And it clarifies this isn't a degree, it's not a certification.
It's something internal.
Yeah, an internal conviction, it sounds like, something that gives ordinary people, well, extraordinary boldness.
And we need to think about what that power means universally. It's like this deep psychological, maybe spiritual resilience.
Okay.
It lets people act with real confidence, authentic confidence. And maybe the people who need that most are the ones who feel unremarkable or, even known for messing up sometimes.
Like the Peter example you mentioned from the text.
Exactly. Peter, the guy who, not long before, publicly denied even knowing Jesus 3 times out of fear.
Total fear. Completely human moment.
Absolutely. Afraid, insecure, failing his own beliefs. And yet, when this power kicks in, Peter stands up. Day of Pentecost. Preaches with such authority.
And 3,000 people are immediately impacted. Changes their whole perspective.
Right there. And the source stresses that wasn't Peter the theologian, armed with facts.
Yeah.
That was Peter the witness, energized by experience and this new resilience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
And the application of this power, this conviction, it's about turning struggle into something useful. The framework says it turns your pain into testimony, your trials into truth, your mess into a message.
I like that. Your mess into a message.
Think about it in any field. A failed business becomes a powerful lesson. A mistake becomes the catalyst for innovation.
So overcoming failure actually gives you a kind of authority, maybe one that an expert who's only known success lacks.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yes. And this testimony isn't passive. It's not just sharing. It's framed as active, like a weapon.
A weapon.
Yeah, there's that concept from Revelation. They overcame by the word of their testimony. Your story, what you personally overcame, it becomes a tool. It breaks down barriers for others.
How so?
Well, if you went through something tough and came out the other side, telling that story gives real, tangible hope. It's proof for someone else who's stuck right now, proof that it's possible.
Okay, so you have this powerful story, this witness. But the mission isn't just to keep it to yourself, right?
No, definitely not.
The source mentions this 4-part geographic mandate from Acts 1.8. It sounds like a roadmap for spreading influence. In Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth.
It is. It's a structure for pushing beyond your comfort zone. If we look at that ancient geography, it maps perfectly onto how influence needs to radiate outwards.
Okay, let's break that down for someone listening. How does that translate today? If you're thinking about your own impact or even, say, a communication strategy.
Right. So Jerusalem, that's home base, your immediate circle. Family, close friends, maybe your local community or church.
Where you're known best.
Exactly.
Oh.
But sometimes, actually, the hardest place to be truly authentic, to be a witness. Emotionally charged.
Okay, then Judea.
Judea is the next ring out. People nearby, coworkers, neighbors, your broader social or professional networks, people you see regularly, but maybe they only know the work you or the neighbor you.
Got it. And now, Samaria. This one feels different. Historically, that was tense. People they avoided.
Deeply tense, social, political, cultural divides, avoidance, even hatred. That's the critical zone for this framework.
So in modern terms, Samaria is...
It's the people you don't naturally connect with. Reaching across the aisle politically, engaging with folks online who hold opposite views, dealing with people whose values or backgrounds are totally different from yours.
Oof, that's tough. Most people probably stick to their Judea, right? Their echo chamber.
They do, it's comfortable. But the source argues that real, world-altering change demands that the witness intentionally goes into Samaria.
Why is that contact so crucial?
Because the real test of your witness, its effectiveness, is measured by its reach beyond the familiar. If you can communicate your truth, your story, effectively to someone who starts from a completely different place.
Then it carries real weight.
Revolutionary weight, potentially. If you only talk to people who already agree with you, you're just an echo. You're not really being a witness in this challenging sense.
Makes sense. And then ends of the earth. That's just everyone else. Global reach.
Yeah, the wider world, media, online presence, abstract networks, it covers everything. So the point is, being a witness isn't just for like a big speech, it's an everyday thing.
How you act at work, at the grocery store, what you post online.
Exactly. Your actions, your narrative, they're constantly sending a message. It ties into that idea. You may be the only Bible someone ever reads.
Or the only example of resilience or integrity.
Right. It's about your light shining, your good works being visible. That's the proof of the transformation you're talking about. Okay, so we accept this idea. Our story is our power. But then comes the anxiety, right? What if they don't believe me? What if I'm rejected?
Yeah, the fear of failure. That's huge for people when sharing personally.
It is. But this framework offers some psychological relief here. It clearly defines the witness's job.
And what is that job exactly?
Simply to testify, to tell your story.
Yeah.
Crucially, it is not the witness's job to convince or convert anyone.
Really? Not to convince.
No. The source uses the analogy of a courtroom. The witness gives testimony the truth as they know it. But the verdict, that belongs to the judge.
Or in this context, maybe the listener's own internal conviction, their own heart and mind.
Precisely. The change, the acceptance, that happens internally for the listener.
Okay, that is a huge weight off. But wait, if I share my story and nothing changes for the listener, did I fail? Do I need some expert persuasion techniques after all?
That's a fair question. The text suggests it's more of a partnership. When the witness speaks their truth, there's an accompanying force. Call it the Holy Spirit, call it the power of truth, call it resonance. Something works alongside the testimony on the listener.
Oh, okay.
The source puts it nicely. When we speak, he confirms. When we share, he convicts. When we testify, he transforms. It divides the labor.
So the witness provides the spark, the authentic story, but the actual transformation, that's handled elsewhere, internally.
Exactly. which frees the witness from needing all the answers, from needing to win an argument.
You don't have to defend the whole system.
No, you just need to tell your story. That core narrative, I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. That kind of transformation story resonates universally.
It's about empathy, maybe, not just instruction.
I think so, yes. And the final call to action from the source material is really practical, very direct. It's essentially, don't let insecurity or fear shut you up. If you've experienced a fundamental change, if God or a new perspective or a methodology has saved you, healed you, delivered you from something hard, you have to tell it. You just have to, because somebody right now is listening and waiting to hear that change is possible for them too. Your story is their proof. Hashtag outro.
Wow. Okay, so summing this up, this deep dive really gives us a different way to think about impact, doesn't it?
It really does. A radical redefinition almost.
Don't just focus on being the expert who knows all the facts.
Yeah.
Focus on being the witness who communicates truth through, well, lived experience.
Right. Experts can argue statistics all day, but the witness says, look, I saw this, I lived this, I know.
It changes the whole goal. It's not just about knowing more yourself, it's about changing the world around you.
Absolutely. And we can bring it back to that original example, the disciples. History records they turned the world upside down.
Not because they had PhDs or political clout.
No. But because they were witnesses, they'd experienced something transformative, and they just refused to be silent about it.
So the final thought for everyone listening, where can your personal story, your experience of getting through something tough, where can that be more powerful than all the knowledge you've gathered?
And maybe, more specifically, which Samaria are you avoiding right now?
Ooh, good question. The place where your story might be needed most, precisely because it's uncomfortable, because those people are different.
That's where the real potential for impact often lies. That's the challenge.
A lot to think about there.
Definitely.
That's our deep dive for today. Until next time.